Interactive Wrestling Radio. Welcome back to the Interactive Interview on theinteractiveinterview.com, and we're joined here by Gabe from Ring of Honor. Gabe, how you doing?
Pretty good. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Daniel, would you like to ask him a question or something?
Yes, indeed. Just to introduce Gabe. He's on from Ring of Honor, and we're going to ask you a few questions just in a sort of a relaxed, more informal way to normally interview style. How you doing today, by the way?
I'm doing pretty good.
Excellent. Cheers for joining us. We just wanted to kind of bring you on and just speak about Ring of Honor in a more open style and let people know what's going on. You had a show this past weekend. How did that go down?
Yeah, we were in Elizabeth, New Jersey, which is right outside New York City.
Right.
We had a very good crowd on hand. They were into a lot of things on the show. Jim Cornette was there, and you can never go wrong when Jim Cornette's there. We had the Scramble Cage match, which was absolutely just breathtaking. And
for those who don't know, who was in that match?
We had Teddy Hart and Jack Evans as one of the teams, the SAT, the Backseat Boys, the Carnage Crew, and Special K. So it was a 5-team, basically it was 5 teams, 2 teams started. They went for about 3 minutes, then every 2 minutes after that another team entered, and after all the teams got in, the first fall won it. So it was pretty much a rip-off of the War Games format.
Right.
But what we did was, it was in a steel cage, and we put platforms in the top corners of the cage, because you know how now you see a lot of the guys, they go up to the top and they do spots off the top of the cage, but
right.
you know, it's tough to balance and everything.
Right.
Basically, we had platforms, so the guys were easily able to get a lot of footing up there, and actually makes it much safer. And they're also able to do some spectacular things up there. So the match was absolutely just featured like some of the most daredevil things that I've ever seen. And I mean, it was just an unbelievable spectacle to watch live.
Speaking of Teddy Hart, I heard there was an incident backstage involving Teddy. Could you get into that with us?
Basically, Teddy's a great guy, and I love Teddy, and I'm not sure exactly what happened in his head, but basically he wrestled a perfect match. The other time he was in for September 20th, he wrestled a perfect match, did exactly what he was asked to do, and then unfortunately in New Jersey after the match, something just snapped in his head, and he just started doing all these dives off the top of the cage, and none of them were scheduled. He did land on some guys who weren't ready to be landed on. They weren't in position, and they weren't protecting themselves, which is very dangerous.
Did anybody get injured?
Angel Dust got a little bruised up on his arm and leg from it, from a shooting star press. And if there's one thing I don't tolerate in an ROH ring, it's people being hazardous to the other workers. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And he also stole pretty much the glory of the match, because after the match, the whole place was on its feet chanting ROH, and then suddenly he started diving all over the place, and next thing you know, the place is chanting Teddy. So instead of everybody getting over and the promotion getting over, it turned into just him getting over. So that pissed off pretty much our entire locker room. Basically, the ROH locker room, those guys considered something special to be with ROH, and the ongoing philosophy in there is that you try to get the other guy over first, and then you get yourself over. And that's really why you see all those great matches in ROH. It's because everyone is so unselfish in that ring. So when somebody went ahead and pulled a selfish act like that, it definitely was not tolerated, and Teddy found that out the hard way. But I really don't know what went through Teddy's head, because Teddy really is a great guy, and he's an unbelievable talent. I mean, the guy is definitely a franchise talent.
Absolutely.
And this isn't the first time it's happened, and hopefully, one day he'll get his head on straight, because I mean, he seriously is, and I was with ECW from the day Paul Heyman took over as Booker. He is really the greatest talent maybe I've ever seen. He is so unbelievably good, and a good guy. It's just something snapped in his head, and I don't understand it.
Here's a tough question for you. Will Teddy Hart be back?
Well, right now I don't even have a choice in the matter because of our locker room unified against him. So if he comes back, it's like spitting in the face and crapping on everything that our locker room just did. So it would be a complete morale, killer. So pretty much right now there's no choice in the matter. He can't come back.
Yeah, on OneWrestling.com today there was a post up explaining how Teddy Hart he really sorry and apparently something to do with a concussion is why he did that. Was that actually from Teddy?
What's that?
There's a post on there was post.
Yeah, I just missed the ending part before.
Yeah, was that post was that email actually from Teddy and has he?
I guess so. I mean, I haven't talked to Teddy since Saturday.
I see. Do you think the claims that he made in that could be at all true?
Well, I mean, the spot that he's claiming that he got the concussion on was about 10 minutes earlier in the match, and I've seen plenty of concussions in my day and had one myself. And it doesn't take 10 minutes to kick in, and you're not exactly going to be flipping off a cage and everything. So I don't know what the deal is with all that. But I mean, I think he is very sincere in his apology, and I know he's called the owner of ROH, Rob Feinstein, a bunch of times, and he is very sorry about it. I know that, but the unfortunate situation is that it's not even an option to bring him back right now because we can't, after the way our locker room unified like that, we can't just go and bring him back. It's like a huge spin. It's like spitting in everybody's face, and I don't think Teddy would be very welcome back right now. So it'll probably lead to some sort of backstage incident or something of that. So right now, the best thing to do is just let time pass.
Speaking of Rob Feinstein, your name has always been closely tied with him. How did you end up meeting Rob Feinstein?
We both went to Temple University together about 10 years ago. So we met there, and we were both wrestling fans. So, I actually bought a tape off him back then.
Going back a couple months, they had plans for Raven and CM Punk to do a hair versus hair match, and then eventually that became Shane Douglas against Raven and TNA doing the same type of match. Was there any heat between you and TNA about the possible stealing of that idea?
No, not at all. It was actually something Raven was shopping around to both of us, and TNA turned them down, or evidently they did, but they really didn't, and Raven basically came to us with it then, but he just didn't have the right clearance to go ahead and do something like that. So, no, there's no heat at all with TNA over that.
What is your working relationship with TNA, or is there one?
There really isn't one. I mean, we're friendly with them, and we respect what they do with the guys and everything. So, but that's pretty much it. I mean, we rarely talk to anybody from there.
In the future, it's been announced that Roddy Piper will be coming to Ring of Honor. How pleased you'd have Roddy in the promotion, and what other big things are there for ROH in the future?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's great having somebody like Roddy Piper. I mean, everybody grew up idolizing him, including myself. I mean, he was definitely one of my favorites growing up. And pretty much the way we look at it is it's something we're running the night before WrestleMania, so let's bring in a big name that might attract some of those fans that are coming in for WrestleMania. So that's how we're looking at him.
Is he going to be wrestling, or do you know yet?
He might be wrestling. He's definitely going to be doing something on the show. He's going to be signing autographs at the convention, and if the right scenario works out, I think that he'll be able to have a match.
Wow.
Yeah, that would be something else.
What convention was that you was mentioning?
What's that?
What convention was that you're mentioning?
Oh, we're having our own convention before the show.
Really?
Yeah, so it's going to be like it's basically like a Ring of Honor convention, and we're working on bringing in a couple of other names for it too. I mean, we want to make it a really big day. We figure it's going to Elizabeth, New Jersey. It's right outside of New York City.
I'm from New Jersey, so I know exactly where that is.
Yep. So yeah, it's right there, and it's the kind of thing where if there's out-of-town wrestling fans coming in, who they can have like an unbelievable weekend between catching WrestleMania and hopefully we can put together a good convention and show for the night before WrestleMania.
Obviously yourself, you've been hugely involved in Ring of Honor. So over the duration of the time, what's been possibly your top 3 moments of Ring of Honor?
I really don't like to list any. I get asked that all the time, and it's really tough for me to pick one over another. But I mean, just the very first show, at the end of the show, where we did the angle where Loki and American Dragon went to shake Chris Daniels' hand, and Chris Daniels walked away, and that just set the tone for the whole promotion right there on the very first show, and the fans were totally into it and everything. And it was also the first major angle I ever did, so it was just cool seeing it get over and everything. So the 1-hour Iron Man match, the recent Homicide Steve Corino match that we had was just unbelievable. And I keep telling everybody, if you only see one match this year, make sure to see that match, because it was just a combination of every style, and both guys put on an unbelievable effort now, and it was really one of the greatest matches I've ever seen, and it blew away anything Steve Corino ever did in ECW. It's just he's become such a phenomenal worker, and that match completely showcased it at its best. And I mean, there's just so many things. I mean, the first anniversary show, we had the Riot. To me, you know, some people hate it, some people love it. It's something that I really enjoyed and was great, and it served a lot of purposes. And I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. I don't know. I mean, you guys hopefully seen some of the tapes or something.
Right,
I
have.
don't know if you have any yourselves.
Indeed.
How can people that haven't seen the tapes get hold of them?
rfvideo.com. ROHwrestling.com, or you can call 215-891-9404.
One thing that a lot of people ask the actual guests that come on the show for the interview segments is, where can you see yourself in 5 years? So let's put that to the Ring of Honor. Where can you see Ring of Honor in 5 years?
Well, we don't really like to set any goals. I mean, really, our except for one thing, which is stay in business, and that's what we're trying to do right now. So I'd be happy if we're drawing 500 people a night and running 2 or 3 shows a month and putting on a product that we can all be proud of in 5 years. That would make me more than happy.
Can we throw a couple
to be proud of? What do you feel of the WWE programming currently?
I usually fall asleep like about 5 minutes into it, so I haven't seen that much of it. So I can't really comment that much because I really don't know what's going on there.
Is there any reason why you fall asleep, or is it just boring?
It's just boring to me, and I have no interest in it. Although, when Paul Heyman's on, now that he's back on, I'll probably start watching SmackDown again.
Now that you say that about ECW, what exactly was your position with ECW?
I did some of everything, really. I did the fan cam, I sold programs, I was an assistant to Paulie, I worked in the merchandise sometimes, I worked in promotions, PR, just wherever they needed somebody.
Were you at the final ECW show in Pine Bluff?
Yeah, I taped that, actually.
Yeah, I have that tape. What was your memory of that evening?
It was real sad. I mean, everybody was crying backstage. Everybody knew it was it. Dreamer was going around still trying to captain the ship, saying that, oh, you know, we'll all be back together in March for the pay-per-view. But pretty much everybody saw the writing on the wall, and everybody knew it was it, and everybody was crying at the end.
Daniel, would you like to throw a couple names at him, like our word associations segments?
Okay, let's do a mini word association.
Okay.
First name on the list, CM Punk.
Absolutely tremendous top talent. I love him. He's great.
Tommy Dreamer.
A leader and somebody who held ECW together for the last couple of years.
Francine.
I don't know. I haven't thought much about her lately, so she was cool.
Trinity.
A good talent, and unfortunately we didn't quite use her to her most potential.
Raven.
A genius.
Daniel.
Christopher Daniels.
One of the best going today.
Loki.
Who?
Loki.
Loki.
Ego.
Really?
Yeah.
Any story behind that?
Nah.
No? Okay.
Just in general.
Yep.
Just in general, he has an ego. Okay.
Steve Corino?
Corino, unbelievable talent.
Trying to think.
Jim Cornette, I can't say enough good things about him. He just makes everything better.
Rob Feinstein.
A businessman.
Just incredible.
A guy hungry again.
And how about biggest name possibly in wrestling history, Hulk Hogan?
I guess he made a lot of money.
You don't have any personal opinion of him?
Nah.
Okay.
I mean, I've never really been into the Hulkster, so.
James, do you have any more you'd like to put?
Sure. How about the most successful promoter of all time, Vince McMahon?
Well, like you said, that's pretty much the only way to sum him up, the most successful promoter of all time. He's the guy who runs the business right now.
All right. Well, Daniel, is there anything else you'd like to ask him?
No. Gabe, would you like to let the viewers and listeners know anything more about the upcoming month Ring of Honor that you haven't already mentioned?
Well, we got the big Philadelphia show, December 27th, and I think that's one that a lot of out-of-towners might be interested in. We got a lot of the All Japan guys coming in, Kaz Hayashi, Great Muta, Kojima against Homicide on that show, so that's going to be like a huge day. And we also have a huge double shot at the end of this month on Thanksgiving weekend in Fairfield, Connecticut, and in Wakefield, Massachusetts, which is right outside of Boston. And we're going to have some pretty loaded shows for both those nights, including potentially something very special for Fairfield that's in the works. So hopefully keep your fingers crossed and it'll happen.
All right. Everybody, keep checking out rfvideo.com to keep ordering Ring of Honor tapes, and we'd like to thank you for your time tonight.
Great. Thank you very much.
With Thursday being Thanksgiving, I'd be remiss not to mention the people that we've lost this year.